Here comes the first question. No, ये KBC नहीं चल रहा. ठीक है. Hey guys, welcome to the fourth episode of the Mayank Show. And in this episode, we're going to talk to Kanishka Chaudhry. Kanishka is a 16-year-old iOS developer who started her programming journey back in 2016, and she's, literally crushing it. Like, if I talk about her, I would say she has cleared WWDC and Apple's scholarship event. She has cleared it 2 times, and she has done 2 internships as an iOS developer. Can you believe that? Yes. Like, I have met people who struggle with getting internships even when they are in their college. And Kanishka is in just her 12th grade and she has done it all, right? She has shared a lot about her experiences so far, and she has also talked about her future goals. So guys, without any further ado, let's roll the intro. Welcome to the show, Kanishka.
Yes, my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. And would you please just tell our viewers a little quick your journey into the iOS? Like, you are just 16 right now, right? And you started
Yes.
off with iOS back in 2016. It's like when you were around in 8th or 7th
Yes,
standard.
in program.
Yeah, I mean in
Yes, so
programming
like
in general.
firstly I was into science, like reading science books and like experiment stuff, and like somehow I came across this magazine at school which had this article about learn how to code for free, and then there was this whole description of this couple of websites, and then I was gone home and tried it, and I was like, that is really interesting. You can make websites and apps and learn for free
Okay.
from this website. And then like
Uh-huh.
continued that, learned the basic web development, HTML, CSS. And then I mean
Uh-huh.
it was really interesting because firstly we didn't have that much pressure at school, especially
Right.
at that 8th, 9th period.
Exactly.
Yes. And then there was this article on Medium I was reading from this scholar about his WWDC journey and his whole scholarship experience, and that moment that made me
Right.
thought that I guess I can start with this, like iOS development, making playgrounds and submitting it for WWDC.
But initially, Kanishka, you started off with web development. So how did you switch to the iOS? Like, what was that one thing that came across to you and you find that let me try this?
Yeah, so that was mostly that Medium article about the scholarship. That kind of
Mm-hmm.
made me thought that yes, this is interesting. I can go for this and can also learn the iOS development. So that can
Okay.
be like a new area to expand in.
When you first find that I can start off with
Yes,
iOS, so what kind of resources did you refer to
yes,
when you started off?
yes. So those are mostly YouTube videos and tutorials. And a big shout out to Jared Davidson. I started with pretty much the basics from his videos, and then
Uh-huh.
that helped me a lot in starting my journey. And then there's this other
Okay.
YouTuber, Code with Chris. Yes, and like
Yeah.
making practical projects was the key for me, like a calculator app or
Mm-hmm.
a music app. So I guess the critical point here is that when you have actually used that software in real life, it is easy to relate while
Uh-huh.
programming it, and it makes the understanding a little easy. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
that was how like helped me get grip on the fundamentals and like uh concepts of Swift.
Mm-hmm. So, you are just doing this for last, say, 4 or 5 years, right? So
Yes,
you have also cleared WWDC scholarship 2 times in a row, right? In
yes,
2019 and 20. So can you please just explain what is WWDC to our viewers, so that they can get an idea of what is it exactly?
yes. So WWDC is hosted by Apple every year, and it's acronym of Worldwide Developer Conference. It is
Okay.
hosted every year mostly in June month at San Jose, California, where they launch
Mm-hmm.
all the new iOS stuff, and like mostly the software parts, which is what they release in June, and
Mm-hmm.
it is like one day they stream it from San Jose, California, and all the developers meet there too. That is
Right.
basically the whole concept of WWDC, launching new software products.
Okay. And how does that relate to you? I mean, you cleared the WWDC scholarship. So how does that make sense to WWDC, the main event? Like, can you please
Yes,
just throw some light on that?
yes. So attending WWDC, there are 2-3 ways. First is that your company sponsors you, or you buy a
Okay.
ticket for like $1,500, more than that even, like $1,600. Or then there is this third way of
Mm-hmm.
being a scholar,
Mm-hmm.
and which is like you apply apply with the playground and essays, and then out of like all the applicants, Apple select 350 from all over the world and invite them to the WWDC, and
Okay.
give them like they get some little more things too, like a free developer account for like which is
Okay.
valid for 1 year, plus some perks
Mm-hmm.
at the WWDC, like you get some extra things there, a special treatment.
Right. And along with that, I think you get a tag that stays with you for lifetime, right? You get a kind of repo in the society of, you can say in the iOS community, you get a hold on things.
Yes.
Like you have cleared WWDC
Yes.
one time, so people treat you in a different way after that, I believe.
Yes, a little bit, I would say.
Right. So, Kanishka, what has been your journey like? You cleared WWDC, and but before going forward into this process, what is the main thing that you need to make sure that you need to do the things this way or that way to clear the internship, to clear the scholarship? Sorry, you need to do all
Yes.
these things to clear the scholarship, right? So, can you please just take us
Yes.
through that process as well?
Yes. So for that, I would say like the key is first understanding that what the scholarship actually needs you to do. So it is a
Mm-hmm.
playground which is just on your creativity and technical accomplishment, and then the essay. So like
Okay.
if you get those three things right, and like actually somehow stand out in all the other essays and have a very creative, unique idea, and I
Okay.
guess it is easy. And one more thing, like if you're younger than 18, it is actually quite easy to get in. But I mean, over 18, it becomes super competitive
Why so?
because
Why so?
there
Why do you think so?
because firstly there are very few high schoolers that apply to the WWDC, and they
Okay.
take you a little less seriously when you are under 18, and think
Okay.
that you are doing is like pretty good. But like
Okay.
after 18, they make, I guess, plus there is more competition. There are a lot of university
Exactly.
students in there. That
Right.
makes it quite hard, I would say.
Mm-hmm. And before going forward to submitting the idea and all the things that you thought of before, preparing your project for the WWDC scholarship, the first step that is required, I think, is to get a Mac and start off with Xcode, right?
Yes.
So, how did you get your Mac? Like when you were in 8th or 9th, say, how did you convince your parents to get the MacBook? Was that easy for you?
Actually, first it was pretty hard convincing them, and
Yeah.
the first whole condition was after I passed the 10th board and get a good percent, I will get it. But I somehow convinced them and got it earlier, before 10th, and like during the
Okay.
Diwali period, I got the Mac. I mean, finally got, that was a big
Okay.
accomplishment, that finally I got a Mac and I can start the iOS stuff. So I would say like the convincing part was pretty hard, like actually letting your parents know that yes, after I get the Mac, I will get a good grade and also program. And like just after getting it, it becomes quite easy. So yes, that was how I got my Mac, by
Uh-huh.
convincing parents.
So, how did your school played part in supporting you? Did your school supported you in all this process, or was it like restraining you to opt all these things?
Yes. So firstly, I would say that half of the people in school, they won't actually know what I'm doing, like web development or iOS development. Like it is first hard. It is first the part to educate them, like this is what I'm doing, like acknowledging that this is
Uh-huh.
Swift is for iOS development and Xcode like is what you use, and then web development is done that way. So like the first part is acknowledging them, like half of the people, and then like there are a few teachers who supported me a lot, and It
Okay.
helped me get connections to few iOS developer in like other well-known Gujarat universities. So that
Okay.
helped me a lot, like their connections and them supporting me throughout my journey of coding. And like there was a school code balance, and they actually helped me get like a perfect balance and helped me get the
That's really
connections. So I
nice
would say
to
yes,
hear.
school, yes,
Yeah, I
the
think
teachers are really
generally,
helpful.
I don't think that generally schools do support this much to anyone, but in your case, as you
Yes,
just said, it's really, amazing to hear that your school is so supportive in this process. That's nice. So
yes.
I have also seen your pictures on social media, like you are teaching some students out there. Like, what is it exactly? Is there any club or something in which you teach all the
Um,
other students?
yes. Yes. So like I came across this thing called Hack Club, which is like the whole concept is you start a computer science club at your school and teach
Okay.
programming to other students. So
Okay.
it is like a non-profit organization, and I applied for that, and like they
Oh.
accepted my offer. So like the only thing they do is they provide you like the few stickers, and like they provide you a community where they help you get some other people who can help you with the club. So that
Okay.
helped me start the club at the school, where every weekend we
Yeah.
borrowed the school lab for like a period or two, and there were students
Uh-huh.
from like 9th to 11th. We didn't included 12th because they had the boards, and like even 10th to some extent for that.
Okay.
So like every Saturday there were presentations. Like there was this big TV in the computer lab, so we used to present like a whole presentation on like the basics, and then other students would sit in a round at all the
Yeah.
computers and they would do that. So
Right.
that was really cool. We did it for like we started in around January, and then the
Mm-hmm.
COVID thing happened just after two
Mm-hmm.
months. So we
So,
shifted online. I said that in Zoom it would be pretty hard to get people actually join, because
mm-hmm.
like it was quite less engaging than it was in real life. But I mean, I guess
Uh-huh.
it still impacted few people and like allowed them to learn computer science and programming. So they were acknowledged about
Okay.
that and started like with the
So,
basics.
which language were you teaching them? Were you teaching them Swift or the iOS development part, or were you teaching them basics of C or C++?
And I would say like uh, I badly want to start with the C or C++, because I mean, once you get that, you get grip over all the languages. But I started with HTML because I mean, it is easy to understand for a high
Yeah.
schooler. And
And I
like,
think it's easy to attract them towards these things, like HTML is not core programming, right? So, but through
yes,
HTML, you can attract them and you can make them, fascinate towards all these things. And
yes,
afterwards, you can introduce them to all the other languages, the core languages, like C++
yes, like
or Swift,
little
whatever you
complex.
want.
Yes, yes.
Right,
So like
right.
HTML was like, it's like a selling, you use it as a selling story, and it is like the entry point, and then you go for JavaScript and like
Right.
other languages.
So, how has been your experience with teaching? Like, do you like teaching, or were you just curious to, initiate that process?
I would say it was more of a curiosity. Like, I don't think I'm a really good teacher, but I mean, I started with that, made presentations and some code demos, and then there was like, if someone, I would like go through, if someone writes the code, I would see their code and see like,
Okay.
you can write this as better or this as better, like kind of um giving them tips to improve.
Right.
So like, uh, not like the actual teaching where I'm not like the best teacher, but this was my approach, making presentations and
Mm-hmm.
giving live code demos and like giving them tips on how they can improve.
Okay. Okay. That's great. I mean, as a, you know, person who is just in 12th standard and teaching other students is like something great that you're doing. I really appreciate you for that.
Thanks.
So the next thing that I would like to ask you, Kanishka, is the ideas that you get to make these projects for WWDC, right? You
Yes.
have cleared it two times and you have got two ideas to publish, to submit, I would say, and they both
Yes.
got selected, right? So how do you
Yes.
think of any idea, and what were those ideas specifically?
Yes. So like in 2018, I applied in 2018, but I mean that wasn't selected, and it was basically an animation. So I wouldn't talk about that because it's just basic 3D animation. But I mean in
Okay.
2019, I applied with the a project on food crisis awareness and like
Okay.
how we can solve that, and the
Mm-hmm.
whole like uh process of brainstorming that was solving world problems. And when I
Okay.
researched and I was gone through the UN research, I came to know that this is just one modern issue which nobody gives attention to. And like digging deep, I came to know that the actual problem with hunger and
Mm-hmm.
like the food crisis is not that people don't get the food. It is that they can afford it. So I mean,
Okay.
it is important to make people aware that this is the
Mm-hmm.
reason the food, like people don't get food. Like just see every day we would be wasting a lot of food,
Right.
and like it is not like we lack the food here. Like it is hard to get the poor people and like
I think I think I
hungry
get your
people.
point. Like you want to say that the food is already in abundance, but
Yes,
the end consumer is not able
yes,
to get it just because we waste it more rather than
exactly, yeah.
consuming it, right?
And plus they can afford. So that those are like the two problems, I would say.
Okay, that's really interesting. I mean, how did you think of this idea? Like, did you came across this kind of situation in real life? Did you observe this somewhere, or this thing just
Mm.
came up to your mind? Like you
So
were just sleeping and got this dream that yeah, I can do this, right?
I mean, my main idea, thought process was make a playground on solving any crucial world problem, which is not like given enough attention. And while researching about that, I came across the food crisis on the UN's like research page, and that
Okay,
was like how I decided to take the food crisis as the topic for
okay.
2018.
For
And then the next
2018,
year, yes, 2019. Sorry, yes,
okay.
2019.
And for the next year, like for the last year, 2020, which was
Yeah.
amazing year, I
Yes.
would say. Yeah.
Yes. So for 2020, like the submission was in May, and and that week was actually the mental health awareness week. And plus, like
Right.
going through the whole COVID thing, and after March, everyone was stuck inside of the four walls. I would say that everyone at some point of that, like the whole lockdown, they were gone through a mental, where they weren't mentally healthy, and like maybe feeling
Okay.
lonely or like
Yeah.
kind of sad or depressed. So I thought, why don't we make a playground to make people aware about that? And I guess it's a big modern issue, and especially in India, it is not given that much attention, I would say.
Right. But I would just assume that this was something that you personally came across, right? Like
Yes,
you realized that yes, there are some things that that you need to address in terms of
yes,
like mental health. Just you just said. So were you
yes.
experiencing this yourself, or again you just came up with this idea? What was this,
I guess
right?
I guess it was both. Like after COVID, not like a little bit. I'm like such a social person, and after that, the COVID stopped all the social interactions and like
Right.
going to school and talking to friends and that stuff. So it kind of like it. It was like you were a little. I felt like a little lonely, and I was like this. Plus, like
Right.
other people are like going through kind of the same. So
Mm-hmm.
this can be perfect idea, and we can demonstrate that in a playground.
Yeah, like even I can resonate it to what Jared said in the podcast when I had one with him. So he also mentioned
Yes.
about mental health and how he has been suffering. Like not he doesn't have mental health issues, but he feels that something needs to be done for that. Like he also said that for getting into the touch of people, he
Yes.
after completing his work, he get into touch with his friends or maybe with his family. Since now he has shifted
Yes.
to a separate apartment,
Yes.
so he has also highlighted this issue. So I believe you and Jared can probably make some good application with some more modifications in it, and I would highly recommend Jared to connect with you I would also share this part with Jared so that you guys can come up with something which would really help, the world.
Yes.
And I would also be happy to be a part of it if you guys need it. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's great. And you also mentioned, Kanishka, that you came across the UN research, and you also, access to all these things before getting onto the building up of your application. Like you thought of the idea
Yes.
of that food thing, right? That food is not,
Yes.
the end consumer doesn't get the food, whereas the food
Yes.
is already in abundance, right? So you came
Yes.
across the UN research. So
Yes.
from that point, I am just curious to know that what kind of content do you consume in general? Because this is something not common in people of your age. I believe most of the people in your age usually watch Netflix or just watch some random YouTube videos. I'm not just judging them, but yeah, I think they do watch all these things. Like I am in touch of people who are there in your age. So how does that matter? Like, do you watch something specific, or like, can you please just tell us?
Yes. So I would say like for my content, it's like part of that is science, like based on science, and part of that is based on like podcasts and like listening to like people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates, like the people who make world a better place and are entrepreneurs. And like there is a
Right.
part of it which is devoted to some entertainment stuff, like 10-15% I would say, which is like just to relax and like relax.
Yeah, which is
and
also quite important.
Yes. And then apart
Yeah.
from that, I like try to watch something or like consume something which adds value to my knowledge and like something which can make me feel more curious about like some certain subject or something. So
Right.
like the key, like listening to podcasts, watching some really like some valuable YouTube videos, or like even audiobooks are, I would say they are very helpful. Like you're just cleaning room or going for a walk and just put on the headphones to listen to a book. Like that is like a very good way to consume the content too, I would say.
Yeah, and I do agree to that to a certain extent. And do you think that your friends also does similar kind of things?
Well, I mean, I don't know much about their content consumption, but yes, I mean,
Oh, don't tell me you
they
don't know about their content consumption. Don't you talk to them?
I do talk to them, but I don't like exactly know. I would say
Okay.
like they like most of my friends are into music, so what they do is like watch guitar tutorials and like podcasts like that, or like some
Okay.
of my friends are spiritual and they read the Gita,
Okay.
like the whole explanation of that. So that is really interesting.
Okay. That is also interesting to me. Like they're
Yes.
reading Gita. Like, dude, that is some real shit, right? Okay. Okay. So the core basics remain the same, right? Like you also try to consume and get some value out of the content that you are watching. Same goes to your
Yes.
friends. Like they also watch their interest of content, but
Yes.
the ultimate goal is to get some value out of it, right?
Yes.
Right. That's great. Yeah, Kanishka. So what is the role of your parents in supporting you all through this process? Like you also talked about your school, how did your school support it and how it is supporting you, right? So
Yes.
has your parents been supportive throughout this process, and are they supportive now, or were they, obstructing you in the very beginning when you were doing these things, and after that something happened and it all changed? Like I would like to
Yes.
really know that.
So at the starting when I was like doing like the basic coding stuff, they were like, all right, she's doing coding. I mean, they didn't restricted me, but didn't take it too seriously. But after like the scholarship thing and like all the app development, like I started showing them apps like, look, this is what I made. Or, like this is the music app I tried today, like tried to make today.
Okay.
They kind of took it seriously, and especially for WWDC, they supported like the whole career move. And like in the 12th grade, like the WWDC 20 was online and my school was going on, and they were like, you can attend WWDC and not attend the classes. I mean, you can always backlog the class later, but WWDC, that will never come back. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so like I would say
Right.
like they're really supportive and
Mm-hmm.
want me to pursue whatever I want, and they're supporting me in
Right.
the iOS career. And yes, I would say they are really supporting.
What was your first reaction when you told them that I got selected in WWDC 2019?
So firstly, I was jumping around. So my mom was like, "What happened? Why like coming down that
Okay.
downstairs like so fast? What happened?" And they were like, "What really?" And then first it took them time to understand like for a moment that what is WWDC and what will happen after this. So if I
Right.
just sat down and like
Uh-huh.
at that moment when I was selected, I told them like this is how the WWDC is, and the application process was like that,
Hmm.
and this will happen. And they were like, that is really great that you applied for that and got in. So like
Okay.
they were really surprised, I
Okay.
would say.
Okay. Nice. So I think that was the point from where they took this seriously. Like, yeah, girl is doing something great, right?
Yeah.
We were not just
Yeah.
acknowledging it before, but now that she's showing us something real, now we can completely say that, yeah, Kanishka, go live your
Yeah.
dreams.
Yes.
Right. So how was the experience of going to WWDC for the first time? Like, I don't think that last time you got the opportunity to go to San Jose and attend it live there, right? I think in 2020, Apple that didn't invited all
Yes.
the students to because of the pandemic, right?
Yes. Like
So how was
everything
your
was
first
online.
experience? How was your experience in 2019 with WWDC?
I say I was like, it was a really new experience. Like I have never been for like past 2 3 years. I've never been out of the country, let alone the state. Like I didn't travel for like a long period, and then it was like this first time I was going to US, like a completely different country, attending the
Right.
WWDC. And like first I would say like what I've been watching on TV for years, like I watched WWDC for like from like seventh, eighth, and there was this one channel that streamed it, NDTV. And I used to
Yeah,
watch it
NDTV
at
still
like
streams it every year.
yes, and
Yeah.
like they show the key features, and like I really like how they stream it, and I used to watch that for like since seventh, eighth, and like actually watching Tim Cook introducing the new iOS in front of you, like that was like a dream come true. I never even thought in my wildest dreams that I would see the
Uh-huh.
WWDC and see Apple like Tim Cook launch iOS in front of me, like
Right. Right.
eye-opening experience.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting the developers there and like connecting with them, it just it broadens your perspective. Like firstly it was at like when you're living and never go out, like
Mm-hmm.
the perspective is quite like strict, like you don't know what's outside, but like once you go outside and talk to other people, you understand that yes, like you understand other people's perspective, and like what can be your next career path, like you can consider them as ideals.
Right. Right. So can you please just explain what, in which sense you got broader perspective when you went to the WPC and met all those developers all around the globe?
Yes, so like um my whole perspective before that was like developer is like you make products and publish it, like that.
Okay.
And like going there, there were few people who were content creators, and few were like developers and entrepreneurs, and like few were working in big companies. And like I met someone from Robinhood, and they showed me the process on how it works. And like there
Right.
was this other developer from Australia showing how like there are different meetup events in
Mm-hmm.
Australia, and like hackathons. Like they have
Mm-hmm.
some really good meetups every year. So that helped me understand like how you can like pursue iOS development as like different perspective, as an entrepreneur, as a content creator, or working in a big
Mm-hmm.
company, or starting one yourself. So like that helped me
Okay.
broaden the perspective that way, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, even I would, I can also resonate to that part because when I was in my third year in engineering, I came
Yeah.
across this entrepreneurship for the very first time. Before that, I was living with this idea that I will get a job after my college and I'll
Yes.
live that life. I will be a developer after that. So I was very limited in that approach. But when I came across certain people and I talked to them, then I got
Yes.
this perspective that yeah, you can do your things as well, rather than just seeking a job in the
Yes.
market, which is not bad, which is also good. You can also start off your own company and provide jobs to many, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Like that's
so
always
that
like
perspective things,
new.
like it is not even I didn't went to US to learn all this. I met some people in my college itself who were my seniors. So perspective matters
Yes.
a lot. If you talk to people and listen to their ideas, you really get something which is new, and you should, I think, listen to
Yes.
them as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I guess connecting is
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. So, like you just said, connecting is important. How do you build up
Yes.
your network? Like, do you put efforts in building your networks, or you got the network after attending the WWDC and now you are just propagating it a little bit more through that?
um, I'd say it's like my networks are mainly based on Twitter and LinkedIn, and like few of the
Mm-hmm.
connections I made at like WWDC and the other scholars and the forums that there are. So like
Uh-huh.
there is this Discord server of all the WWDC scholars and who are aspiring to be. So that can be like you, I made few good connections in that server, and like
Okay.
after, at WWDC 19 and 20, like that ordered me to make more connections. And LinkedIn, I would say that is the key for connecting to people, because there is
Okay.
where like all the professional things happen.
Okay. So you do have an account on LinkedIn, like a perfect one?
I would say perfect. Like I just
Like perfect in
described
the sense,
what
have
I
you
did.
updated it? Like most of the people just make an account and write that we work in this company or we are doing this, and they just left it because they
Yes.
never access it again. So is it like a complete
Yes.
account, or is it like just you made an account and just went went somewhere else?
I do update it like monthly, like every time I think like this is relative, like I can update on the LinkedIn, and like
Uh-huh.
adding like if I give any exam for like university application for US, so I like describe it there, or working at a new company, I describe it in the LinkedIn. So yes, I regularly update it, not just leave it like that.
Okay. So how has LinkedIn helped you? Like, what is your approach with LinkedIn? How do you use it exactly?
I mostly use it like as a way to show like this is so far what I've worked. Like I use it as a resume or portfolio. So like whenever
Mm-hmm.
a recruiter asks, or if I'm looking for to apply to somewhere, I just put in my
Okay.
LinkedIn, because like it is perfectly updated and describes everything what I've done so far. This is how I
Right.
use LinkedIn for using it as a resume.
Right. And I think you also create content on YouTube. Like I've came
Yes.
across your channel
Yes,
and you have made some videos.
yes.
Yeah, please,
I
please go ahead.
I do it as like a side hustle, like sometimes like once or twice in like a period of 3-4 months. I'm like, there is no solution for this on internet. That
Uh-huh.
I make tutorials on topics which I think is not like on internet. Like there was this one video I made on how to enter a password in Unix of like Mac or Linux, and that got
Okay.
like 10 to 15K views, just because I knew that there was no like a very effective solution on internet. So like I
Okay.
only make videos when it is like I don't find a solution online, and I think like
Okay.
I can provide value.
Okay. Like you hold so much value, like in your core, that you always think of providing or getting value out of something, which is really interesting about you. Yeah. Yeah. So, Kanishka, what have you learned so far in the iOS, or particularly in technical industry? What have you learned which you would say that, yeah, this is one thing that I'm really proud of learning, and this is the best up to my knowledge so far?
um, for that I won't say like a specific thing, but UI tips. I guess I've worked with like making like a social media thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
it allowed me to explore a lot of the UI kit components, and how you can like like the in UI table view, how to make it scrollable and make it dynamic so the content changes. So like I would say my strong point is UI kit and working with those elements and the programmatic code. That is, I would say, my strong point.
Okay. And what is the best thing that you want to make? Like, what is your dream project on which you would like to work? Or is there any project are you currently working on?
Yes. So like I've been working on this for long, like a social media where teenagers and like the target is young people like 13 to 19 or like 20 years old. And like the concept is to make an anonymous platform where you can share your like stories.
Okay.
May it be good, may it be bad. Like you can share it here and anonymously, and you can like find like-minded people. Like if you go so far, like the app I've built, you start the app and you enter your interest and it connects you to more people who got the same interest or like listen to same kind of music, and then you can also share your story. So like the whole idea is being expressing yourself and finding like other people that way.
But why anonymously? Like you can share your ideas without being anonymous. So why this stress on being anonymous?
It's because like if right now if any person is like active on any social media, like let's take Instagram, and they share like the very childhood trauma there and like write a big essay on that, people would like start judging them to that point. Like this person like shared all of that story right there,
right?
And like somehow that people will judge you, I would say, or anyone who would post that.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what is that one idea that you would like to work upon in the coming future? Is there any such idea that you have in mind, and you're thinking that I will work on this idea after these many years, or I will start working after completing this one?
Yes. So like there is this not like a specific one, but this one I've been thinking for past a couple of months, that what if we can add more utility to the AirPods? Like right now we can just do like 2 clicks and like 1 click, and it just does few functions like changing volume or changing the song. But like I did some research and I found like there's this framework, Unity framework, which lets you which tracks the sensor, and like if you do tilt your head left, and like so it will detect it and make the changes according to that. So like what if there's an app which lets you make changes, like you tilt left and it changes the volume, or like plays the next song, or like adds more functionality to the AirPods. So that is like this idea I really want to build and like publish.
I think you told me before about this idea, like before recording this podcast, and I really got amazed when I heard it for the very first time. And again, that thing happened to me, like you are telling me for the second time. But yeah, still that idea, it's like really amazed me, in the sense that you are thinking about creating something that I would generally not think about. Like I am also an iOS developer by profession, right? I have never thought about adding some functionality to AirPods, or I have never tried even to, search that how can that happen. So yeah, this is really something amazing that you think of, and I really appreciate how you think about things, right? That's great. So what thing would you give credit to for these things? Like, would I say that you are a curious person, or would I say that you are more into observational things? Like, do you observe more, or are you curious more about things? What should be the perfect phrase to
I would say like necessity is mother of all inventions, and the utility thing, this is what I actually wanted, because I use AirPods like all the time, or like while walking, and like suppose we are going for a walk or run, and then I have to change the song or control the volume, then I would have to pull out the phone. It kind of ruins the whole flow. So this idea it came out of my own necessity, that I want more functionality to the AirPods.
Okay. So you have this complete Apple ecosystem. Did you get any out of these devices from your salary? Like I know that you are doing a internship, right?
Yes.
for last, say, 7 or 8 months, right?
Yes, like since June, so like 6-7
Yeah,
months.
we'll also talk about that. But the question is that did you get any of these devices through your salary from that internship?
I got a keyboard and like my AirPods stopped working, like one single. So I had to replace the whole that for like other $100.
Right.
And like, so like, if something wrong happens with the device,
Mm-hmm.
I just fix them. But I didn't want like something completely new apart from the keyboard from that
Right.
from that compensation.
I believe that is super, proud to get some things out of your salary.
Yes, I
Right.
know, right? Like it's a
So,
proud feeling.
yeah. So, can you please tell us about your internships? Like, you are in 12th standard and you are doing internships. What are these internships? How did you get these internships? Can you please tell us?
So yes, sure. So like around June, like I got this like friend at WWDC. Like, he was a previous WWDC scholar, and he was like, this company needs like an intern who is interested. And like
Mm-hmm.
I applied with my LinkedIn, and then had a
Mm-hmm.
call with like the manager. And I would say it's more for referral that got me into, and then like the
Mm-hmm.
call, and then they were like, yes, we would love to have you as an intern at the
Mm-hmm.
company. And
Mm-hmm.
then I did the internship, and I've been doing it for like past 6-7 months, and
Mm-hmm.
like working on projects, getting feedback, and like again fixing bugs and like pushing
Mm-hmm.
that to production. This is what I've learned so far in building apps at the internship.
So, can I say that getting an internship before college and being in school is quite possible?
Um, yes, I would say that it's very hard to balance like the internship and like the school stuff, especially I'm in 12th
Right.
grade, so
So,
like
does your
it was quite
school
hard.
know that you opted for this internship?
Um, like few people are aware, but few are not.
Okay. Okay.
Like it's like that.
Okay. So, how has been that experience of internship? Like, you created the application, like you took the process up to the end, right? Pushing it up to the app store, you just said.
Yes,
So,
like
how was that
helping it. Yes.
experience?
I would say like it shows like the practical as development is like so far I've been building apps on my own and just
Mm-hmm.
like for learning purpose, but this
Mm-hmm.
actually shows like how the real life apps that we use in daily life are made, and how like that each feature and the bug process and the prototypes are built. So that actually helps me understand the real life, like the apps we use on daily basis. Like it somehow shows how that is built in real life in the companies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Nice. So, what are your plans after completing your schooling? Like, you have your boards in 2 or 3 months, right?
Yes, in
So,
May.
what are your plans after that?
It is like for the studies I'm applying for the US university, so like the results will come, and then I will the if I get into one and I accept it, so
Okay.
my semester will start like from fall, so around September, November. But like
Okay.
between the period, I'm thinking of like exploring the web development and like trying new technology, something new, like not just one domain, like expanding the skill set to some other domain.
Why so? Like, why are you thinking of expanding your skill set? Any specific reason?
I mean, for just like for learning new and like just having like a new perspective. I would say like we have been doing for iOS for long. Like now, web will give like another perspective of like there are different elements like responsive and like plus web is something everyone uses, so it makes it easier to
Right.
make a product that everyone like
I
literally
think there is a
everyone with
more
any
larger
device can use.
community of web developers, more larger community than any other in technical field, right?
Yes,
I
yes,
just believe so.
yes. I've
Okay.
mostly seen like it's a really big community compared to the app development community.
And what are your thoughts on JEE exams? Like, are you considering them into your options or not?
I guess I was just using it as a backup. Like if none of the US
Okay.
thing works, then using it as a backup so I can get into a university here and like plus I have
Okay.
good sales because I'm from Gujarat, so like that can help me get into
Mm-hmm.
any good engineering universities in Gujarat. So like JEE is
Okay.
not my top priority. Like I just do it along with board. Like not like the first priority. First is boards right now for performing good,
Okay.
and then it's JEE like as a backup. But like the main aim is
You
to
you
get
you
good
actually
grades in
didn't
board.
mention about JEE when you told me about the college, like the US college for which you are applying. You just
Yeah.
said that meanwhile I would try my hands on web development. So I just thought that JEE is nowhere in the picture. So I just asked you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Like it is great. Like there is no point of giving so much stress on these competitive exams. Like things can
Yes.
be
Thank
better
you.
without these things as well, I believe. Like you are a
Yes.
self-taught developer, right? So anything
Yes.
that you want to consider learning, you can do it yourself because internet is there, and all the other resources that
Yes.
are required, they are also available online for free. Most of the
Yes.
resources.
Yes.
And after learning them, if you want to level up your game, then you can consider getting the paid courses, because
Yes.
through all those free resources I believe you can at least get an internship. But I believe
Yes.
that not just internship, you can also get a job offer through those
Yes.
learning materials.
Yes.
So yeah, like these things are not that necessary. I'm not just underestimating those exams, but yeah, like
Yes.
the complete mindset of 12th students who are there in PCM is completely upon all these competitive exams in India, like JEE
Yes.
and all
Yes.
the state exams
Exactly.
that are there.
Yes. Like just JEE
Right.
and 12th. I mean, they don't actually consider the. I'm not like judging, but like they can also start it early with like the internet resources, or they can also go
Yeah.
in university. So it's their approach, whatever they
I mean,
look forward for.
going forward to the practical approach, like people always complain about the education system is not that practical, the things are more
Yes.
of theoretical. So why don't you
Yes.
start off with a change? I don't know when the education system will change in itself, but it might take more time. But why
Yes.
don't we start it from ourselves first, right?
Yes.
Like for your
Yes. Like
for the example, you have taken some steps into that direction, I think. So that's great.
yes.
So the bigger question now comes is, what is your vision? Like I cannot ask you that what would be your advice for your younger version, because you are still so young. So I cannot just ask you that question, which is kind of traditional that I ask. I asked it to Jared, I asked it to Kiloloko, I asked it to Avers. But
Yes.
for you, I would say that what is your bigger vision in the life? Like, I'm not asking you to tell me what is a plan X number of years down the line, but I
Yes.
think there might be some picture in your mind that I would be doing this thing in a long run. So, what is that one thing?
Yes. So like right
Or
now
it
the
could be
things
two,
are not
like
certain.
you're not restricted to only
Yes.
one.
Yes. Like I would say like there are few ideas like my core values that I follow, like making software for like solving the modern problems. That is like the core thing I would say. Like that is the north star I follow for
Okay.
like anything I do. And like this one
Okay.
really big goal I have like since I was younger was getting featured at the Times and Forbes magazine. Like they're 30 to 30 list, and they choose like in India they go from like 225 people to like 30 people. So I would say it's really competitive,
Okay.
but it's like a dream for me to like be featured on like Times or Forbes magazine's list.
Okay. That's amazing. I mean, yeah. So, have you figured out the roadmap to that goal, or are you still in the process of figuring out that roadmap? That what all do I need to do to get into that magazine?
I would say I'm still like figuring out, and like the technology is constantly changing. Like every day there is something,
Right.
some new technology, which is like
Every six
which is
months or
trending.
so. Earlier it was like every
Exactly.
5 years. Then it came to 2 years. Now it's like every
Yes.
1 year or 6 months you get something new in the technology
Exactly.
world, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So, what do you think is the importance of staying, relevant to the things which are coming up so, so fast? So, what is the strategy to stay updated? What do you think?
I would say it is like to follow like the important media, like
Mm-hmm.
there's TechCrunch, and then for Apple there is 9 to 5 Mac, and then
Okay.
right now the CES in Las Vegas is, as far as I know, yes, it is going on like
Mm-hmm.
there, and which where they introduce like the new products, like the futuristic
Uh-huh.
products, the visionary products. So
Mm-hmm.
like keep like for staying up to date with this event and like following those medias, I would say like it it can help stay updated with like the current trends and everything going on.
How do you fit in all these things in your day schedule? Like, you have talked about so many things that you do, but I cannot imagine how do you do that, all those things in a single day, like maybe in a week, but how do you,
Yes.
figure out that, yeah, these are the things that I do for a day, or in a week, I need to do all these things. Like, I want to know what is a day like in Kanishka's life.
So like a day, I would say like it is not certain. Like it changes like pretty much a month or two. Like with like the school timing, like they change it regularly with stuff and they add more classes and stuff. So I would say like describing a week would make it more relevant. So
Mm-hmm.
for a week, like there are a few fundamentals that I do, like every week going for 2 runs, like at least 2 runs, like to stay fit
Okay.
and healthy, and then like
Mm-hmm.
making all the plans on Sunday, like what is gonna be the upcoming, what
Mm-hmm.
task I'm gonna complete in the upcoming week, and like if there is a test or like some deadline, I would just put it in there in the calendar so I won't miss that. Like
Okay.
I can't rely on my brain on remembering all the tests and like events that is going to happen. So like I just put it in the calendar, and then like
Okay.
on everyday basis, it's like studying for like 2 hours of session, which makes it easier to consume the information, and then like
Okay.
consuming content while doing like any um not so productive task. Like while I'm cleaning the room, I can listen to a book or like a podcast, or
Right.
like after studies, like for entertaining, like I can get like 30 minutes of Netflix or something for relaxing.
Okay. What kind
So
of
like this
content
is
do you
how.
consume on Netflix?
It's mostly like teen drama movies. Like there is this Riverdale, 13 Reasons Why. And then there is this very old teen
Okay.
dramatic series called Gossip Girl, which is on like few teenagers in New York and
I've heard that
how
name.
they're like, yes, like the
Nice.
teen drama is what I mostly watch.
Nice. And what all do you do for your fitness stuff? Like, where is health in your priority? If I ask you to scale it in a bit in between 1 to 5, where is that priority for health?
Um, I would say like sometimes I take health for granted, and until I get ill, I don't take care of it. But right now, I would say like 2.5 out of 5. Not like completely fit. The only thing I do is going for a run. Then the whole day is spent in front of computer, which makes me quite irresponsible in
Yeah,
taking care of health.
yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Don't you think it should be at number one?
It should be, yes, it should be at number one. But I mean, right now I
Ideally.
play school and like the work and like planning for the US university. Like so, it takes
Right.
it's hard to fit in health in all of that.
Yeah, right. I can
Yes.
understand that. Like being in 11th and 12th, it's like so many things to do. Like,
Yes.
I didn't even used to do half of what you are doing now. I was completely consumed in hanging around with my friends in the city after tuitions, going
That's
to
the best
school,
thing I would say. The most
going to school
satisfying
and,
thing.
yeah, and bunking classes and playing in the basketball court. Yeah, so this was my life, and this is yours, like, which is on a complete contrast, I would say.
I mean, I go out too, like after tuition, especially. I would say that is so relatable. After tuition, like all the
Yeah.
friends would hang out and like maybe go to some near like restaurant, just get something to eat for like 5 10 minutes and talk there.
Yeah, we used to
those
pull
are the
over at
memories.
all these. We used to pull over at all these, roadside stalls, and used
Yes,
to eat something there, and then, chatting and all, gossiping, and then coming back to home late after the tuitions.
that is, yes, it is so satisfying to do that. Like after studying for 2 3 hours and then going out and hanging with
That is
friends.
so satisfying where you don't have anything to do after that. But if you already
Yes,
have some
yes,
things on priority, then I don't think that makes sense, right?
yes. But I mean, it's a good social interaction after the tuition and like studies.
Yeah, which is also important, I would say. Like, you cannot completely consumed into all your career oriented thing. Otherwise, you will ultimately, you will miss out some things in life.
Yes,
Like being social is also important, uh,
yes,
along with all your goals that you're following, right?
yes, yes.
So,
Definitely.
Kanishka, what is your message for all the viewers and listeners to this podcast? What is your one message for them?
It is like whatever is your passion, whatever is your idea, keep building it. Like always like put some effort and like make that idea. And if people criticize you, I mean, uh, they will criticize you, but just talk less, do more, keep doing, and like
Mm-hmm.
you will definitely get the results someday. And also keep
Mm-hmm.
socially interacting, like enjoying the life, maybe going
Yeah.
out like once a month or two. Like don't miss out on living life and social interactions and doing in pursuit of like pure productivity, I would say.
Right. And the main mantra is to talk less and do more, right?
Yes, yes,
I just wanted to repeat it after you, so I just said it. And also, like, in your case, as your parents were, kind enough to let you choose whatever you wanted to do and whatever you are doing currently, some of the
yes,
parents are not that open to, options for their kids. Like, they don't allow them to
yes,
figure out what they want to do in life. So for
yes,
them, I would say that you can show them a little bit of your success as a proof to make
yes,
them, to convince them
exactly.
to let you do that thing or pursue that thing. Do you agree to that,
Yes,
or do you have any other point to add on in this?
yes, I would say yes. Like uh, just uh, just do the work and show them like this can be like a career option for me, or like
Mm-hmm.
yes, that's what I would say. Like do and like prove it. Do less, like talk less, do more. That is like the ultimate mantra.
Right. So, Kanishka, thank you so much for inspiring all of us, and especially me as well, because I really got inspired by your story personally, like what all things you do currently and what all things you have done already. So that gives me more energy. Like, I need to do more. I need to do more. Like, people out there are doing so much great things for the
Yes,
globally, not just for India. Globally, they are thinking of
yes,
things. Like, for example, I can take mental health. You are not taking it just as something which you need to do for the
yes,
nation, but you need to do for the humanity, right? So that approach is
yes.
yeah,
Like
quite
yes,
inspirational in itself, and your ideas are really inspirational. So thank you so much again for inspiring us, and thank you so much, Kanishka, for being on the show, the Mayank Show. And yeah,
yes. It was a pleasure. Yes, thanks for
yeah,
having me as
i
a guest
just i just really
and
hope
giving
that we
opportunity to
Yeah, I
be a
just really
part of
hope that
podcast.
you come on the podcast again after completing your 2 or 3 milestones. I just think that we would sit again and talk about your experiences through all those things that you would do in the coming future, and all the best for all what you are doing. And again, I would say that all the best for
Yes.
your board exams, which are also quite important. Yeah, so Kanishka,
Oh yes.
see you
Yes.
in
Yes.
another episode someday. For till then, bye bye.
Bye.